Today, I want to help the beginner golfer to the intermediate golfer put together a set of clubs that will help them develop their skills and also be kind to their bank account. We're going to look at a couple different ways that we could accrue our equipment in a fashion that's not going to break the bank here. If you're brand new to golf, one thing that you're going to notice right away that this is an expensive sport for the most part. If you go out and you were to buy one of the top of the line drivers nowadays, you're going to be spending upwards of $500 for most companies. And if you're going to go buy a premium putter, we're talking 300 plus. So for a lot of you out there, if I was getting into a brand new sport that I was unsure of, the last thing I'm going to do is go shell 800 bucks on 2 clubs. I know that they're going to be good, but am I going to be able to turn around and sell those and make money back, or am I going to lose money? And chances are, if I don't like the game and I've shelled out that much money, it's going to sting even worse. Ow! So I'm going to share with you some of my favorite ways to put together a set of clubs. And we're going to start with understanding your physical abilities. If you're brand new, we just need to know, do you go to the gym? Are you active? Do you work out? What is your age? What are your ranges of mobility? Do you have limitations in shoulder movement? There's a lot of things that we need to assess to help understand what type of club we need to gravitate towards. So for the beginner golfers, and we'll start with this. If you're basically 25 years old, upwards to 50, and you're physically fit, you're running, you're active, you're lifting weights, body's in pretty good shape, there's a good chance that you're going to be okay with getting a stiff set of clubs. Now, if we're looking at a golf club shaft, the golf clubs, since we're going to be looking online for the most part, are going to have indicators on the shafts. So for this is a steel shaft. It's on here, it reads stiff, and it even says stiff. So that's what that means. The flex of the shaft is really going to be dictated by how much swing speed you're going to generate. So if you're in that pocket, basically 25 to 50, and you're relatively active, there's a good chance that you're going to be okay with a stiff flex shaft. If you've gone to the range, say golf is not entirely new to you, and maybe you've hit irons on the range, typically maybe like a 7-iron. If you're hitting your 7-iron 150 yards plus, it's a good indicator that you should be swinging a stiff shaft. All right, now these are broad terms that I'm using here. I'm just helping somebody to get into the game and not break the bank. So I know there's a lot more that goes into the shaft flex, but we're trying to get people on the right track here for the beginning, just planting that seed to get you into the sport that you're going to love for life. Now, if you're in that pocket of life where you're maybe not as active as you used to be, maybe you're not as strong as you used to be, but you're in that 45 age and upwards, there's a good chance that a regular flex is going to work well for you. And you can also explore what's called graphite. So this would be considered steel. Graphite is the material that you see in most drivers. So it's like a carbon fiber tensile material that is lightweight. It's designed to help absorb some shock, and it's also designed to be lighter than steel. Therefore, you can swing it faster and gain more yardage. So that's kind of the spiel on shafts. Now, if you're in that pocket of life where things have definitely slowed down, but you want to pick golf up, and you really have some limitations in mobility and strength, a senior flex would be the next step. So we just go, the young bucks that have the strength, we're going with stiffs. The guys that are kind of in between, maybe have some limitations, we're going with regular flex. And then for those of you that maybe struggle with a lot of impediments in mobility, we're looking at graphite with a senior flex. also known as soft regular for some manufacturers. I like that term a little better than senior. We're all young at heart here, so why label it, right? So that's the shaft. The next thing you're going to want to look at is basically your height and what would be considered your measurement from your knuckles or your wrist to the ground. Now, we'll share a chart in here that can help you identify what length of shaft you need that would best fit your static stance. I know that's a very technical term there, but it's basically just the raw measurements. It's kind of like if you went in and got a coat specifically tailored to you, you need to have a static measurement of your anatomy. Well, getting that static measurement of your wrist to floor or knuckles to floor is going to help you get the right length of golf club shaft. So we'll share a chart here, so just click on the link below. It'll be there for you to help understand where you fall. All right, so now that we've talked about some pretty important things as far as shaft flex goes and shaft lengths, I want to make sure that you beginner golfers get the right style of head. In golf, there's basically going to be 3 different styles of golf club heads. You're going to have your super game improvement club, which it can be called a hybrid. We'll share some pictures here. So the hybrid is designed for maximum forgiveness. It's not designed to shape shot, so if you're an intermediate golfer that's learning how to work the ball on purpose in certain directions, that's not necessarily the club for you. Hybrids are going to launch the ball up in the air. They're going to be very forgiving, so for your mishits, you're not going to lose as much yardage. The next category would be considered a cavity back. All right, we'll share a picture of a cavity back here. And it's basically going to have a cutout on a regular, traditional, standard iron. And what that does, that cutout helps improve the ability that if you do have that mishit, you can still launch the ball up in the air and there's still some forgiveness. So for beginner golfers, the hybrid sets and the cavity back irons are going to be your go-to. That's what's going to make things easy for you to learn the game, to be proficient on the golf course, and not just, hate the game because you can't hit the club because you bought the wrong thing. Now, for the golfers that are kind of trending more towards the single digits or maybe like the 12 and below handicappers, we're going to be playing a club like this. It'd be considered a blade. So there is no cutout pocket on the back. I go out and play. I love this style of club. I've been swinging the golf club since I was 14 months old, beating up the kitchen floor. So I love a blade because I've done it for so long. I understand how I need to change things to hit different styles of shots, and I couldn't imagine playing a golf course with anything but a blade. So for you single-digit golfers out there, this is awesome. But for you guys that are up there maybe shooting, if you haven't broken 90, don't go to blades just yet. If you haven't broken 85, I really encourage you, don't go to blades just yet. Get really good with being consistent. And then, you can start to venture into a more of a player style club. It's not what your bag looks like on the back of a golf cart. It's not what your bag looks like when you step on the first tee and meet a group of guys you've never met before. Don't try to show off by what your clubs look like. Show off by how you perform. And if you're new to the game, blades are going to be a detrimental thing that you're going to do to yourself, and it's going to be a tough road ahead. We've covered the basics here on what we're looking for in irons. I want you to use the same knowledge that I gave you on the shaft flex when we're looking at fairway woods and drivers. When it comes to putters, quickly cover the concepts before I jump into how to build a budget set. Putters typically come in what would be considered a mallet style putter or a blade style putter. Now the beauty here is a novice golfer, I've seen brand new golfers perform very well with blade style putters. It's really what fits you. Your putter is really going to be your confidence club. It's what's getting the ball in the hole. So try a couple of things. If I were to put some recommendations out there, and this isn't me trying to sell anything, look at the putters that Ping offers. They have a putter that's just kind of set the industry standard way back in the day. It's called the Ping Anser 2. You can jump on eBay, you can jump on a multitude of sites and find a pre-owned Ping Anser 2 for $50 or less. And it's a quality putter. It's something that's going to help your game, and that's where I recommend you start. If you have already played, you know how to putt, but you struggle with putting, maybe consider a mallet style putter. Now, a mallet style putter is the dead giveaway is going to be how big and bulky the head is, but it's designed for a very pendulum style of stroke. So the straight back and straight through type of stroke fits that style of putter perfect, and God's honest truth, a lot of tour players do really well with it. Look at Dustin Johnson, look at Rory McIlroy. The putters that they've been using have been the TaylorMade, I believe it's called the Spider. Again, jumping on eBay, jumping on even Marketplace on Facebook, you should be able to find one for a nominal fee compared to what they traditionally are sold for brand new. So, all right, so we've hit all the important categories there. Let's talk about resources of where to get our clubs. I've already mentioned a couple. So once you establish and you know what type of flex you need, you know what type of club head you should be swinging, whether it's a game improvement, a cavity back, or a blade with the irons. You're just going to use that same concept of where you are in life to help dictate what type of shaft flex you're going to use for your fairway woods and drivers. And then, play around with the putter. It's a good idea to get a good feel for it. Do some research, but where you want to jump, some reputable places, eBay is almost hands down my go-to. I feel like on eBay you have such a wide array of options that you can really dial things in and build a set for not a whole lot of money. And you know that you can look at the seller's reviews. You can look and see, all right, is this person sketchy? Is this somebody that I'm not going to trust? Or is this a big time seller that has thousands of positive reviews? That way you can be reassured that, if you're spending the couple of $100 that it's going to take to compose the entire set, you've got options. Some places have return policies on eBay. It's a safer way to do business when you're trying to find second hand used material. Now, there are other options, and if you're familiar with Facebook Marketplace, I have scored quite a few of really good clubs over the years that have helped benefit my game for what felt like I was getting a steal of a deal. The only downside is if you've dealt with Facebook Marketplace, there's some characters out there. You might have a deal set where you found the perfect set of irons, you've been messaging with the person all day long, and then all of a sudden, boom, they stop talking to you, you get ghosted. It's a frustrating thing to deal with. So my first step would be look at eBay, see if it fits your budget. And then the next step, if you're like, this is probably too much, I want to see what else is out there, jump on Marketplace and see what it has. I've been outright surprised at what I've found. I picked up an entire set of Titleist irons, wedges with the woods, and a bag for, I think it was like $250. you've got to have the right person at the right time to have the exact equipment for you, and you can really find a steal on there. In fact, if you've done something like that, I'd love to hear your comments on what you've found. Another option, if you are one of the people that really like to get a feel for what you're buying, you don't just want to go shell out 80 to 150 bucks on a set of irons without seeing what they actually look like or feel like, go to a used, kind of like a Play It Again sports store. I know that we have a couple of those in our area. If you jumped on Google, it's a good way to get out there. And another option that I'll share with you, and this one's going to fit that very, very small pocket of people. But when I did work on the green grass side of the golf industry, I would get equipment all the time. The manufacturers would send me stuff all the time, free of charge, didn't cost me a thing. I'd play it for the season, and then it would sit in my garage. So if you have a golf pro, that you trust in, there's a good chance that they're probably going to have some extra equipment laying around. Now, again, it's probably going to be designed for a faster swing speed. So those of you that are in that younger, more athletic pocket, that could be a really good option for you to say, hey, Joe, I've been looking for a new set of clubs. I'm trying to get into the game of golf. I like the concept of wanting to play golf, but I don't want to spend all the money. There's a good chance that they're going to hook you up. I know that I've done it a ton of times, but it's got to be that right person. I feel like this is something that's not talked about enough, and people go out and they'll just buy things without any type of knowledge. And then the struggle begins. So at least I hope that I've planted the seed for somebody, trying to learn it, trying to understand it, and trying not to break the bank. I hope I'm reaching out to that crowd with this video. And then for those of you that have played the game for a while, but you're not going to pay $500 for a driver, do some research and look online. I promise you'll find something, and eBay is a perfect way to start it. There's a couple of other resources out there, but I feel like that's going to be one of the safest ways to do your business and build a set. So thanks again. I'd love to hear your comments. If you have any suggestions about what this topic was, I'd love to hear it. So thanks again for your support, and I'll talk to you guys soon.